Collected Essays of Valerie Lynn Stevens. How Non-Resistance to Nature Serves the Ultimate Good. Part 2. Furthermore, we must equip ourselves with the power of as much insight as possible. We must do this, for our quality of life depends directly upon what we think and or know. Although I must say that the two are certainly not mutually exclusive, for what we think we know but do not know, or what we think we do not know but actually do know, fulfills the prophecy of itself, whether or not it is true as the mind makes it true. So, thinking and knowing often make for strange and even quite combative bedfellows. Thus, one can see why finding a place of solid convictions about what one believes of good and evil is so essential. Because the mind is a wily creature that is never quite honest with itself about what it knows or even thinks or perceives. Having convictions is one of the starting points to living one's life. Hence, we will now explore the various ways in which evil is defined. First and foremost, there are two main branches of phenomenology. The first is the world of direct sensory experience, or the physical, material realm, which we also refer to as the external world. The second is the non-direct, abstruse, intangible realm of what we sometimes call the sixth sense of experience, or intuition, and subjective perception, or most comprehensively what is offered up as that delectable, ever-variegating smorgasbord of human condition and experience. The first we can summarize and label the heart of the matter, and the second, by doing a little flip-flop, we can call it the matter of the heart. And although the two subjects are generally mutually exclusive and cannot happily and peaceably coexist in one distinct and set template of observation, they seem to both desire the undivided attention of the mind and cannot be denied one for the other. The lattermost phenomenon is what makes Sartre's irrational man such a comical and equally compelling and often tragic character. It is also why we spend most of our lives not being what we are, but instead spend a good portion of it in keeping the duality within our being which it causes in proper perspective. In continuum, it is only after we have learned to keep it all up in the air in a consistent cycle of suspension that we can throw more pins into the juggling act. The only way we can be at our best is in fueling the energy normally used in sponsoring our worst towards becoming better and better at being our best. And, as with any goal in life, perfect 20/20 hindsight is more often than not a non-entity. Thus, a certain point must be reached through the natural process of living in order to first come to those insights essential to successful pursuit of our task. For if the sun knew of the rain beforehand, it just might steal all the clouds away. And if the prey always outsmarted the predator, well, I suppose that's self-explanatory. Which brings us into the second most controversial definition of what evil is and is not. Heraclitus, the ancient Greek philosopher, was the first recorded to stress the significance of the interdependence of each thing to another in our universe. The way he saw it, evil did not exist, per se. Instead, Heraclitus reasoned that all things, just the way they were created to be, were good and quite harmonious, in fact. And concepts such as the pleasant, soothing reverberations of the term harmonious are not what we conventionally ascribe as synonymous with the concept of evil. This was the ahead-of-his-time genius that was apparent in these higher observations. It parallels what would come later in the first chapter of the book Genesis, which stated that God saw all that he had made and saw that it was good. Heraclitus managed to sound both logical and intuitive, respectively modern and appealingly primitive at the same time without compromising either. And Heraclitus was even perhaps the unembodiment of that anomaly hanging askance, the essence of Sartre's irrational man. Perhaps he had the secret to the art of reconciling coherence with contradiction in the human soul and mind. If he had, it is a loss indeed that he did not illuminate upon that or set that on record as well. This perhaps would have altered the course of human history itself. Nonetheless, what Heraclitus did contribute to the leaks of ideology has given a very feasible alternative way in which to avoid the inherent dangers of fundamentalist theological conjecture and fanaticism. In a word, he showed us a good way of thinking of the bad. Furthermore, what other ways are there to define evil besides the Gnostic, Manichaean, twofold way of good versus bad, as light versus darkness, respectively? There are the Chinese forces of yin and yang, or feminine versus masculine, respectively. The feminine force, or yin, is thought to be the passive negative force, and the yang, the positive dominant force in the universe. Just another way to give us females a bad name, huh? And this is not far from the synthesis with the majority view of what evil and good are. It is true that in most religions a parallelism with the Judeo-Christian concept of benevolent creative deity and force existing in opposition with an antithetical destructive nemesis exists. It shows a highly corresponding probability with the naturalistic characterization of evil and good into specific phenomenal laws.